So, have you ever had an experience where you felt like, wow, I something in me changed. Like I am not the same. I it's like a part of me died in some way. If you of course if we go like if you go back in time and think about a very maybe emotionally charged experience. And maybe if you were not aware then, but like if you think about it right now and then you go back in time and you can be like, whoa, after that experience, now I can notice that something in me changed. Now I can notice that after that I was not the same again. And of course, throughout our life, I feel like we have all these experiences, right? Of course, but like we live like literally, so we have experiences, right? Some of them are like very like happy experiences. Some of them are very challenging experiences. Some of them are very sad experiences. But usually, like the very emotionally charged experiences, so those are the ones I'm referring to. So I think like when we are young, what I was gonna say, sorry, let me go back to the point, is like we have those experiences throughout life, and I think those experiences transform us, right? At the same time, like when we were young, I feel like there was something to us, like an essence, like the that uniqueness of who you are, that throughout life, like it starts, I guess, transforming, and like like I guess your personality develops, and sometimes like you maybe hide things about yourself and you enhance things about yourself, and as you go into culture and like your society and with your relationships and your environment, you start like maybe kind of like shaping who you are. And of course, I feel like throughout life you have all these experiences that shape you and that where you can learn things about yourself. But at the same time, I feel like all those experiences, like it kind of like unveils, and it it takes away these layers of things that might not be super true about yourself. So it's like all these experiences shape you and help you be who you really are. Like they help you find more authenticity. They help you find your inner power, like the power that everyone, literally everyone, every person in this world has, right? All those talents, all the things, the ability to play without expectation, the ability to show yourself as who you are. And of course, who you are, I guess, is a component, or who we are is a component of many different things: our experiences, our environment, our relationships, culture, our personalities, our beliefs, our ways of thinking, everything. Of course, all of that makes you or makes us who we are, of course. Yes, but there's some uniqueness about who you are and who I am, right? And I feel like throughout life, sometimes like again, we kind of like start maybe like putting makeup on it. Not saying that makeup is bad or anything. It's like we start maybe covering or masking aspects of ourselves, and then kind of like, or at least for me, it's like you kind of like you are who you are in the moment, of course. But then like if you really think about it, it's like when I was younger, I don't think this actually aligns a lot with who I am in my heart, like who I am from a very like authentic and honest place. So as we have all these transformative experiences and like very emotionally charged experiences, it's like we start again finding things that are more truthful about ourselves, things that are more honest, right? Things that are more genuine, like the real powers you have, the talents you had when you were a kid, the ability to show as yourself as who you are, and the ability to be kind and loving to yourself and to other people, the ability to basically have no secret agendas in life, but to be who you are to come as you are, right? These experiences, or saying like I was not the same, it's like peeling those dark places, or those, I guess, dark or shadows about yourself. It's like maybe it's like putting light, like it's like lighting them, like it's like putting light on them at the same time. So it's like you feel like you're not this, like something changed, something transformed, right? And that transformation energy, that concept of transformation, is typical of Scorpio. So it's like you can associate it with Scorpio in astrology. So this is the first story, all right? So first of all, I want to say hi. Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Marco. I talk about self-worth, self-acceptance, about transformation. I talk about relationships, health, and basically everything that can help you, can help us be a little happier, right? All the things that create balance in our lives and things that contribute to our self-discovery. So yes, that's why I have this space. Welcome to the podcast again. I have many interests. I like singing. I like communication. I like language. I like stories, and I like talking a lot. So if you like talking about deep things, maybe like I would say like astrology is like very mainstream actually. Maybe I don't know if it's super deep. I don't know if my concept of depth is accurate, but welcome to the podcast. If you like talking about self-acceptance, self-worth, about relationships, about, being gay, and, finding who you are and getting to know yourself and the people around you a little better and getting to know life a little better, please stay because I would love to have you here. Okay. So today, by the way, I talk about astrology, like all these things that I talk about, like life, relationships, everything. What I like is talk about it from an astrological perspective, from an astrological concept. Again, the intention is to apply these concepts, apply this knowledge to find balance in your life, and to have a happier life. At least, like, you don't have to listen to me, but that's what I think. And from what I've studied about health and health coaching and life, and from my background, it's like in order to, have a balanced and happy life, it's like your relationships, your environment, your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, your relationships. Again, I'm gonna say them again. It's like 6, right? I've been talking about this throughout the podcast. So relationships, your mind, your emotions, your environment, your spiritual life, and your physical health, all of it together, all of it contribute to you being happier, being a little more happy, right? So last week we were talking about relationships, like who you are, how you show yourself, and how you receive other people, and the agreements and commitment, right? So astrology has an order. This is one of the hardest words for me to pronounce in English, by the way. I'm Venezuelan. So my first language is Spanish. So bear with me. So in astrology, the Scorpio archetype, Scorpio originally ruled by Mars, modernly, like in the modern days, is ruled by Pluto, is also, it's archetypically it's the 8th, or naturally it's the 8th house, is the house of transformation, of death, right? Where something transforms. But people say like nothing really, it's like there's this, what's that phrase is like nothing dies, nothing is created, or I totally forgot. But basically the concept is like everything is things transform. Like energy is not created or destroyed, it is transformed, right? Is it? I guess that's how you say it in Spanish. um or yeah, or matter, energy, yeah, it's the same technically. So so transformation, the energy of transformation, that's the energy of Scorpio. I was telling like this when I started the podcast talking about like transformative experiences, because like, or these very like hard felt, intense felt experiences that basically where we have no option but to transform, right, who we are and to change, right, and as a consequence become who we really are, like really acknowledge our power, right, the power you have, the talent, the I want to say the courage you have to be who you are ultimately, right, and to have an impact in life, in your environment, in have an impact and a legacy in life. And of course, in the next episode, we'll talk about it. But that's kind of like the order, right? Like you have agreement. It's like when you have an agreement or a commitment with someone else, and you get to that next, that would be kind of like the Libra or like the seventh house. The next step is like that unity, that depth and the connection. And that unity requires a transformation of who you are, right? But if we take out other, like the other person, like of course we need other people to have experiences, right? But going back to like from a like only from a self perspective, it's those very intense experiences that force us to go deep in our inner self and see the parts that we were not able to see. This house, the 8th house, the Scorpio house, is a very, very dark, it's an emotional house. It has an emotional energy to it. And it's dark. It's like where the shadow is. It's like where your shadow. It's the things that's like sometimes you cannot see, or that you might know that is aware, but it shows up in your relationship with other people and experiences, and especially in very like intimate relationships where there's an emotional connection usually. And of course, this is the 8th house. It's an area of life that requires, again, transformation, that requires letting go. And that letting go is letting go as well that need light and that require letting go of aspects of who you are, right? And it requires, again, integrating the aspects of who you are as well that you want to maybe transform or just like keep. But at the same time, it's like if we, as we've been learning, for example, Scorpio is, you cannot talk about Scorpio without talking about Taurus, right? So Taurus is the enjoyment of life. It's a creation. It's an environment. Again, we were talking about our environment. Our first environment, if you go back to that episode, it's like Taurus is like your environment, your body, right? It's this, right? They say like pleasure, right? They talk about pleasure, but it's actually enjoyment. It's the things that involve experience, that involves a process, that involves no rush, that involves your body, that involves feeling. And the enjoyment of different situations, it's like your resources, right? The space, but the enjoyment of different situations, regardless of them being great or not so great. So it's like finding a fruit, getting something out of an experience, right? And at the same time, it's like again, your environment, it's the creation of matter, of things you can touch, right? But all this abundance that you can see in Taurus, like, and again, like the enjoyment and the pleasure are very minimum, like bare level. All of this, like abundance, if we see at it from a concept of abundance is not having, well, I would say, right? It's not having a lot of things. It's not like having too many things, because sometimes it can be too much, right? It's think about it as like weight. If it's like you have too much weight, it doesn't allow you to move freely, if that makes sense. So in the Scorpio polarity, it's like you start getting rid of the things that you don't need. It's like the process of eating something, right? You eat it, and then has a process, and then you discard it, right? Your body has like digestion, and then you dispose the things that your body doesn't need. That's kind of like the Scorpio energy. It's like choosing what doesn't really serve me and letting go of that. It's like I take what's good for me, for my body, in this case, like from this little example from the body, it's like you eat, you take what you need, what's good for you, and then you let go of what's not good for you. You don't accumulate. So the holding on, the accumulation creates a lot of pain, creates suffering, right? Creates discomfort. So from the astrological perspective, like Scorpio is that energy of transformation, of letting go. And that's a thing that from I guess low energy is like the Scorpio energy can talk about all these things that are kind of like addicting, like the addiction, the things like jealousy, envy, like all these kind of like darker things or aspects of life. Again, it's like the shadow, the things that you might not be proud of, but they actually make you human at the same time as well. So it's you can see it like that if it's unbalanced. But the real thing, it's like the avoidance of pain creates more pain, creates more suffering. And in Scorpio, the purpose or the challenge or the work, it relies on feeling the loss, letting yourself go down into the infraworld, Pluto, going into the darkness, as my teacher would say, and getting something out of it, and then resurface. It's like go up again. It's this downward movement where you go down, you feel, which is painful. I'm not saying it's not painful or scary, and then you go up again. And when you go up again, you're a different person. You transformed. You saw the parts that were not pretty, or the things that were hard, and you went through the hard situation until you rise again, like the phoenix. Right, so you go up, and when you go up, you bring a tool with you. You bring truth with you. You bring the parts of you that were hidden because of fear, because of maybe because you thought it was not worthy. And that's where your greatest power is. It got it got, sometimes those talents, those things, those beautiful things that we have, they got hid by an experience in life, right? But then there are these other moments and these other people that help you in a very nice way sometimes, and that take you into experiences that are great and amazing, but into other experiences that have that, but also have like a very ugly aspect to them, in a very like hard aspect and kind of like awful aspect to them. But going through that, again, you go through the hard part, and then you take with you, you rescue the amazing part of yourself, the true parts of yourself, that will make you eventually happier and that make you remember who you are. And that it's like, and then you realize, wow, yes, I am not the same, because this is more like this is actually who I really am, or who you really are. Like everyone is. We all have a very strong, a very very powerful part of ourselves that we can see sometimes. That it would be amazing if we just purposely tried to find out that power that we have that relies within us. But sometimes situations force us to find them. And so in the astrology, it's a spiral. So once you go through that, it's like the next time that you go through a situation that's similar, it's like you're not the same. You're more powerful. And you realized that you are incredibly powerful, and that you have potential to evolve, to be more like who you really are on the inside, to be more honest, to be more truthful to yourself and to others. So again, Scorpio, just to like a little summary, Scorpio, it's a water energy, it's emotional energy. Sometimes like throughout life, like there are things that happen that start creating that shadow that at the end of the day, it's like it might have saved us, but at the end of the day, it's like it's a defense. I would say it might be a defense mechanism. I don't know. I'm not academically trained, or I'm not a therapist or anything like that. But what I'm saying is like those things that are hidden, some of them like are great power, and some of them might be like a little shadowy and like not so good. But it's like, again, it's like we're all human. Like we all have those things, right? But ultimately, our nature, I would say, is to be, very beautiful, and to, I would say, we're kind in nature, and we have this spiritual aspect to ourselves. So it's like it and ultimately, like, we want to connect, but when we want to belong, but we want to do it from an authentic place. And so those things, those hard experiences, those embarrassing or like moments, or the shame that is kind of like there, it's like, again, we start getting rid of that through the experiences and becoming who we really are, to belong to ourselves, to be more authentic, to connect from authenticity, to really belong for who we really are on the inside, actually. So I always listen to Brene Brown, by the way, or maybe not always, but I think she has like really cool concepts about vulnerability and like belonging, and belonging, like connecting from a very true place. So again, I was saying it's a water energy. It's ruled by Pluto. Again, Pluto transformation is like also like another analogy might be like when the lotus, like it 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 the it burns from the mud, like this beautiful thing, like from a very like maybe surprising place, like some unexpected from an unexpected place. So like if you're having a hard situation right now, like a hard moment, like a challenging moment, of course look for the help you need, and I hope you have people around you that support you, because that's another thing. It's like you when you have like all those hard experiences or challenging experiences in life. And by the way, little side note here, I'm talking about this because I'm talking about Pluto and like I'm talking about Scorpio, but of course there are transformative experiences in life that might be nerve-wracking and all these things, but they are beautiful. It's not necessarily everything in life needs to be like horrible and like shitty or whatever, but of course. But what I'm talking about this because it's like usually the Pluto and the like the very like again emotionally charged experiences in life. But of course, like you discover things about yourself, but also you discover things about your environment. Again, go back to the episode on Taurus, your environment, your body. It's like you discover the resources that you have within you and actually outside of you. You find out like, wow, I actually have a great support system. That it might be just one person, but a very, very important person. It's like you have the resources in your mind, in your surroundings, in your family, in your friends, or maybe someone who you didn't even know. We talk about Karen here, but maybe someone you don't even know, and someone they kind of like give you a hand. They hold your hand and like they give you some support. So I think that's incredible energy. That's that incredible thing about Scorpio and about those moments. It's like you start realizing and you start unveiling the things that you like were kind of not true, or that were true in the past but they're not true anymore. And again, to become who you really are and to see other people in a more like humane way, to see the reflection of yourself in other people, and not from a projecting like perspective, and like seeing like you're good and you're bad in other people, which at the same time, yes, but it's like you start seeing that other people as humans as well. And yeah, well, let me just go very quick here. Of course, we always do the tarot cards. I feel like I talked up so many things today, but this is today's card, and it's the Queen of Wands. So it's a Hawaiian deity. I don't. Well, it's I don't know how to pronounce that word. It says the Queen of Wands represents a fiery force. Interesting. The volcano goddess Peel's rages can be destructive, but her blessings are just as powerful. She is the creativity of dance, the nourishment of rich soil, and the chaotic force of an explosion. All this is great. Like every time and this was not planned. This was not planned at all. Every time I take a tarot card, it's actually completely suitable, because like when I was with my astrology teacher, like is like the volcano. It's like it's that energy that is like inside of something that is waiting to erupt, like a volcano. It's like it's waiting to be released, And it can be destructive, but it can be very transformative. It can be very amazing. It's all that power, all that what's the word that we're using here? All the lava. No, wait, I just want to look for the reason. God is real street. A pleasant, just as powerful as creativity, damn, or rich soul, and chaotic force of an explosion. That fiery, the lava. It's this fire, that explosion energy that sometimes is like waiting, it's waiting there to be used, not necessarily for destruction, or for destruction that or for the destruction of the things that don't really are not good for you anymore, that maybe worked in the past, like the tools you had that worked in the past maybe are too heavy right now and not very useful. And maybe it's like the destruction of that, the destruction of the lie, the destruction of the parts of the masks, the parts of yourself that were untrue, to unfold into who you really are. And that's everything I have for you for today. I think I talked so much today. I'm a Scorpio rising, by the way, so I guess this topic I like a lot. I'll go into more depth eventually when we start getting into the next episodes. So again, this is everything I have for you for today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, week, month, year. If you got all the way here, I am forever grateful. I am so thankful that you're here and you listen to me, and then you listen to me going back and forth over and over. I hope you got a little bit of like understanding about Scorpio, Pluto, and I hope I made a little impact in you. All right? Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.